My name is Rebecca Hartwell. I'm 52, a freelance architectural photographer based in Portland, Oregon. I own a beach house in Cannon Beach that I bought 12 years ago with money from my first marriage settlement. That Tuesday, in late June, I was editing photos in my home office when my phone lit up with a text from my sister-in-law, Diana. Just crossed into Oregon. Can't wait to see the place. Kids are so excited. Thanks again for letting us stay. I stared at that message for 3 full minutes. I hadn't let them stay. I hadn't been asked. I hadn't said yes. My beach house has always been a point of tension in my family, though no one says it directly. They call it the beach place, like it's communal property, like my years of saving and sacrifice don't count, because they've been invited there a handful of times. I bought it in 2013, right after my divorce from Marcus. Everyone thought I was making a mistake. Too expensive, too remote, too impractical for a woman alone. My brother Jeff actually said, "What are you gonna do? Just sit there and stare at the ocean?" Yes, Jeff, that's exactly what I do. It became my breathing room, the place where I rebuilt myself from someone's wife into just myself. I spent weekends stripping wallpaper and refinishing floors. I learned plumbing from YouTube videos at 2 a.m. Every corner of that house knows my story. In the early years, I was generous with it. Family birthdays, my niece's graduation celebration, Jeff and Diana's anniversary weekend, my mother's 70th birthday gathering. But generous became expected. Expected became assumed. It started small, the way these things do. 3 years ago, Diana texted, asking if they could swing by the beach house on their way to Astoria. I said of course. They stayed 4 days, left the hot tub running and the garbage disposal jammed with crab shells. 2 years ago, my nephew Tyler posted Instagram stories from my deck with the geotag visible. I got messages from distant cousins asking about rental rates. Last summer, Jeff mentioned over dinner that they'd told friends about our family beach house and how those friends were hoping to rent it sometime. It's not really a rental property. I'd said carefully, "Well, but it's empty most of the time." Jeff countered, "Seems wasteful, wasteful." My sanctuary was wasteful. I let it slide. That's what I did then. I let things slide like they were small pebbles and not the foundation shifting beneath my feet. This year started differently. In February, I made a decision, a quiet one, just for me. I was tired of emergency calls at 11 p.m. about broken appliances, tired of coming up for a peaceful weekend and finding sticky fingerprints on my vintage mirrors, sand ground into carpets, pantry items used without replacing. Tired of being taken for granted in this one specific, painful way, so I called a property management company. We set up a long-term rental agreement starting May 1st. A lovely couple from Seattle, David and Lynn, both marine biologists, doing research at Haystack Rock. They'd take care of it, live in it, make it home for 2 years. The money wasn't the point, though it would cover property taxes and insurance. The point was peace. The point was not wondering if I'd find my house trashed after every family visit. I didn't announce it. Why would I? It was my property, my decision. But I also didn't explicitly tell my family. That part's on me. I thought the lack of invitation would be message enough. Back to that Tuesday. Diana's text sat on my screen like a lit fuse. I called her immediately. It went to voicemail. "Diana, hey, it's Rebecca. Got your text. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Can you call me right away? It's urgent." Then I called Jeff. Also voicemail. "Jeff, it's Becca. You can't go to the beach house. It's rented out. Has been since May. Call me immediately." I sent texts to both. Clear direct text explaining the situation. 15 minutes later, Jeff called back. "Rented out? What do you mean rented out?" His voice had that edge, the one that made me feel 12 years old and stupid. I mean, there are tenants living there. Full time. You can't just show up. You didn't tell anyone, he said, like I'd betrayed state secrets. I didn't know I needed permission to rent my own house. We've been planning this for 8 weeks, Rebecca. 8 weeks. Diana booked the days off work. We told the kids. Ethan invited his girlfriend. That detail caught me. Ethan's girlfriend. They'd expanded the guest list for my house without asking. Jeff, I'm sorry you made plans, but no one asked me. Not once. We shouldn't have to ask. It's family. There it was. The word that was supposed to erase boundaries, expectations, basic courtesy, family. They went anyway. I found out later, much later, that Jeff decided I was being difficult and they'd work it out when they got there. That I'd see how much the kids wanted this and I'd figure something out. He actually believed that. Believed his wants could override my explicit no. David, my tenant, called me at 4:47 p.m. Rebecca? Hi. There's a family here with luggage, saying they're supposed to stay for the week. They seem pretty upset that we're here. I closed my eyes. I'm so sorry, David. They're my family. They weren't given permission. You don't have to engage with them at all. It's your home. They're saying you told them they could come. I absolutely did not. I could hear raised voices in the background. Diana's distinctive laugh. That's not a laugh. Jeff's deliberate calm. That meant he was furious. What would you like me to do? David asked. You don't have to do anything. If they don't leave, you can call the police. But hopefully, it won't come to that. It almost came to that. My phone exploded. First Jeff. You're really going to do this? Humiliate us in front of strangers. Then Diana. The kids are crying. Crying. Is that what you want? My mother. Jeffrey just called me very upset. What on earth is going on? Why would you spring this on them? My nephew Tyler. Wow, Aunt Becca. Real nice. Thanks for ruining our summer. I sat in my home office, surrounded by images of buildings and light, and I felt something crack open inside me. Not anger, not exactly. Clarity. I typed one message and sent it to the family group chat. I bought that house with my own money 12 years ago. I've maintained it, cleaned it, repaired it, and paid for it myself. I made a decision about my property. No one asked if they could use it. I am not required to say yes to things I wasn't asked. I will not be guilted about this. Then I muted the chat. Jeff found a last-minute hotel. $380 a night for 3 rooms. Because it was peak season. And they'd made no backup plans. He sent me the bill. I didn't respond. Diana posted on Facebook, not tagging me, but clearly about me. When family disappoints you so profoundly that your children lose faith in people. Praying for guidance. 43 people liked it. My aunt commented with prayer hands emojis. My mother called 6 times before I answered. You've always been stubborn, but this is cruel, she said. Did Jeff tell you he never asked permission? He shouldn't have to. That's what family means. No, Mom. Family means respecting each other enough to communicate, not assuming, not expecting, asking. You're splitting hairs to justify being selfish. I wasn't angry when she said it. That surprised me. I was just tired. Maybe, I said. But it's my house and this is my choice. I love you. I'm hanging up now. She didn't call back. The next 3 weeks were the quietest of my life. No texts. No calls. No random photos of the grandkids. No complaints about Dad's stubbornness. Or arguments about whose turn it was to host Thanksgiving. Just silence. I worked. I shot a series on historic Portland theaters. I went to my book club. I had dinner with my friend Simone, who said, "You look different. Lighter somehow." I felt lighter. I also felt sad, not regretful. There's a difference. Sad that it had come to this. Sad that my family's love apparently had terms and conditions I'd violated, but I didn't reach out. For the first time in my life, I let them sit with their own discomfort, instead of rushing to smooth it over. David and Lynn sent me a text with photos of the garden they'd started on the side of the house. Tomatoes and herbs and native wildflowers. We're taking such good care of your beautiful home. Thank you for trusting us with it. People who weren't family. Treating my house with more respect than family ever had. The irony wasn't lost on me. In late July, my mother ended up in the ER with what turned out to be a severe gallbladder attack. Jeff texted me, first communication in a month. Mum's at Providence. Room 412. Thought you should know. I went, of course. Brought flowers and magazines. And the coconut cookies she loves. She looked small in the hospital. Bed. Tired. She cried when she saw me. I thought you weren't coming, she whispered. I will always come for you. Mom, always. Jeff was in the corner, arms crossed. Diana was out getting coffee. Can we talk? He asked. Sure. We went to the hallway. Uncomfortable plastic chairs bolted to the wall. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. I'm sorry we just showed up, he said, not looking at me. That wasn't right. I waited. Sensed there was more. But you could have told us sooner. About the rental. Given us a heads up. And there it was. The apology with a hook. You're right, I said. I could have. But Jeff, would it have changed anything? Would you have heard me say no? He didn't answer. Every time I've set a boundary with the house, it's been negotiated, argued with, or ignored. You told people it was our family beach house. You gave out the address. You planned an entire vacation without checking first, because you didn't think you needed to. And somewhere in there, I stopped being a person to you. I became a resource. His jaw tightened. That's not fair, isn't it? Diana came back then with coffee that smelled burnt and bitter. She saw us in the hallway and her expression closed. I should get back to Mom, Jeff said. Yeah, I said. Me too. We sat on opposite sides of her bed. We made small talk about nothing. We did not resolve anything, and that was okay. Months passed. Not radio silence anymore, but something careful and distant. My mother recovered. Thanksgiving was at Jeff's house, and I wasn't invited. I spent it with Simone and her adult kids, eating too much pie and playing board games. It was different. It wasn't worse. Christmas, my mother asked if I'd come by for dessert after the main dinner. I came, brought gifts for the kids. Tyler thanked me with an awkward half hug that felt genuine. Diana was cordially cold. Jeff was polite. Progress, I suppose. Or just people learning to exist in the same room. Here's what I know now, at 52, that I didn't know at 50. Being kind is not the same as being accommodating. I confused those two things for most of my life. You can love people and still protect yourself from them. Family doesn't mean unlimited access. It doesn't mean your pain matters less than someone else's convenience. The people who truly love you will respect your boundaries even when they don't like them. Everyone else is showing you who they are. Believe them. I think about David and Lynn sometimes, living in my house by the ocean, making breakfast in my kitchen, watching storms roll in from my windows. The house is being loved. That's what matters. And me. I'm being loved too. By myself. Finally, it's March now. David and Lynn have another year on their lease, with an option to extend. My mother and I have lunch twice a month. We don't talk about the beach house incident. We talk about her garden and my work and the novels she's reading. Jeff and I exchange texts about Mom's health and occasional memes. Surface level connection. Maybe that's all we get, and maybe that's enough. Diana unfriended me on Facebook. I noticed after 3 weeks. It stung less than I expected. The kids will grow up. They'll understand or they won't. Either way, I modeled something I hope matters. That you can say no with love. That protecting your peace isn't selfish. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do is refuse to pretend. I'm looking at buying a second property. A small cabin in the Cascades. I won't tell my family about it. not out of spite, out of preservation. Some places are just for you. Some boundaries aren't meant to be crossed. Some lessons take half a century to learn. I'm a slow learner, but I get there eventually. If you've ever felt guilty for setting a boundary, I see you. If you've ever been called selfish for protecting something precious, I understand. If you've ever wondered if you're the villain in someone else's story, know this. Sometimes the villain is just someone who finally said enough. My beach house stands on a cliff above the Pacific. The ocean doesn't apologize for its boundaries. It simply is. High tide, low tide, the shore holds firm. I'm learning to be more like that. Less apology, more certainty. It's my house. It was always my house, and understanding that didn't make me cruel. It made me free. If this resonated with you, share it, comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Sometimes the home you have to fight, hardest to protect, is the one you've built inside yourself.